Alright, hi everybody that's going to be watching this later on as a repeat. Right now we're live, but later on you'll be watching this back. I'm going to give it a minute to let some people come on, and then I'll get started. I'm going to get started in just a minute. I'm waiting for some people to hop on here. And I have no idea why this thing keeps in and out, in and out. So strange. How is everybody tonight? I'm good. Just fed the whole family, and now I'm talking to you guys. Hi, Aim. How are you? I usually like to get started and kind of talk about some of the things that we have coming up. APS has a ghost hunt coming up next month. We're going to be at the John Brown raid headquarters and the Chitlin Circuit building. Hey, Kylie. We're going to be there doing a ghost hunt, which is already sold out, unfortunately. Hopefully at some point we'll be able to do another one of those. We then have our October stuff going on. We have tickets on sale. October, see, now I don't know the dates right off my head. I believe it's October 13th, 20th, and 27th. And each of those nights we have a 6 p.m. Paranormal Investigation 101. We have ghost hunts that you can choose a time frame, 8 p.m., 10 p.m., or midnight. And each time you get 2 hours with us in the building, just kind of getting a tour, learning the history, and then we're doing the ghost hunt mostly upstairs in the second floor, which is the most active area. It's going to be fun. Every year we have fun. Sharon Lewis, our psychic medium, is going to be there, and Sharon is amazing. So if you have somebody come through, she usually will let you know. She's great, so definitely you won't want to miss these opportunities. A lot of people ask me frequently if they can tag along on our investigations, and unfortunately Antietam Paranormal Society restricts our investigations, whether they're private residences or just regular investigations. It's only members. If you want to go on our investigations, I recommend you apply for membership. Hi, Sandy. We are very active. Normally, every month we have an investigation. We do an Adopt a Highway, which is our community give back. We have meetings once a month. Right now, I'm really actually looking for somebody to help me with these lives. I'd like to kind of bump up the game a little bit with them, and have some more people on other than just me sitting here talking to you guys. Anybody has any questions or thoughts or comments, go ahead and post them in the comment section. I'll try to get to you as best as I can. Let's see what else. I think after that we maybe, hey Sean, that was my phone, my text message. It's actually a UFO sound, so in case you were wondering what that sound was, that's what it was. In November, we may be doing a investigation at a location in Gettysburg, which we're supposed to treat it like a private residence, but it is an actual business. So hopefully we can share some of the information. We won't be able to share pictures or any of the location-specific items, you know, there. They don't really want the location to be known for the paranormal aspect, but they want us to come in to kind of check things out. So really excited about that. It's always nice to go into places like that wouldn't really, you know, normally have people in, but it's exciting to have the opportunity. I was actually just contacted by several private residences. Right now we're kind of just talking. One of the things that I always tell people is not every investigation that we have a request for does it actually equal out to an investigation. I really don't feel that every case needs an investigation. So, and you know, honestly, there's a lot of cases that the people just really need just talk down. They just need somebody to talk to, discuss their case with. We have a lot of people that can't have people in to investigate. So, and one of our restrictions is if you're a rental, you have to have the owner's permission, because there are cases where people try to get out of their lease based on things that are happening in the home. So we don't want to be part of that. We don't want to have anything to do with it. So most cases, we will only do locations that the person owns the facility and we have permission from the owner itself. But yeah, that's what we've got coming up. And we also got contacted by somebody in Sharpsburg. I don't know what kind of information we'll be able to share. Oh, you see Louie over there? Yes, he is a Maine Coon. I'll kind of angle you down. He's got a big fluffy tail. He is amazing cat. He's kind of my mascot for these lives. But anyways, we have one that came up in, it's okay, Sandy. We have possibly one in Sharpsburg. Like I said, I don't know if we'll be able to share the information with that. But again, it's really great to be singled out as a team. You know, a reputation is good enough. Oh, that's fine, Kimberly. You know, it's nice to have people contact us and, you know, trust us enough to have us come into their home. But anyways, today I really wanted to talk about, there goes my son, he's off to the park. I wanted to talk about what is wrong in the paranormal field. Now, hey Jen, not everybody is really part of, you know, our community as a paranormal investigator, or, you know, as equal to what they do in the field as, you know, say me or an enthusiast. You know, there's so many different people that are involved in the paranormal field that not everybody can kind of get the climate or see what's wrong and what is broken, you know, what things that we need to change as paranormal investigators and teams. There are a lot of individuals out there that are you know, they're the people everybody looks to. So a lot of cases you're going to find, I saw that, Kimberly. I definitely want to say some prayers for Monica, and I will. I'm so sorry to hear that. But I hear she's coming out of the hospital soon. But I kind of want, you know, and I want everybody to comment on it as we go along. I am definitely of a firm opinion that if you're going to give a critique or, you know, kind of criticize the field as a whole, you kind of want to give a constructive criticism, something that, you know, it might be a negative, what you point out, but have something positive that we can channel our energy into, instead of, you know, the word that they constantly use, bashing or creating drama, or, you know, just creating that negative feel and negative vibe. There's so many people that leave the paranormal field because they can't handle it. It's too much, and I completely understand it. You know, there's so many fights and, you know, back and forth, and you don't know who you can trust or who you can tell things to, and you basically just kind of, you know, stay out of it. Just be your own person and do your own thing, which is usually the best. But in a lot of cases, doesn't really matter. At some point, whether you do your own thing or not, you're going to encounter other people and other teams and other groups that aren't exactly doing things the way that is morally and ethically right for the field. So you really have to, yeah, I know, Edward. You really have to kind of sit down and figure out what can you do to really, gear what we're doing in the right direction. I feel like, myself, I spend a lot of my time and efforts doing my cases. I spend weeks reviewing audio and video and creating reports and things like that. So I really don't have a public persona, except like right now I'm doing these live videos and I'm trying to, preach to the choir, basically. Trying to put out there where, please be careful about where you get your information from. Please be careful about what information and what things that you put your energy into. There are a lot of things out there that are not the right direction. It is okay to be a group that really just wants to go out there and experience things. There are lots of location. Yeah, we don't do that either, Curtis. We don't charge money for our investigations. Again, we do ghost hunts, which, going to that, I mean, I'm going off into a little bit of a different direction, but we do ghost hunts, public ghost hunts, specifically for those people that don't have a team, can't put their time and effort towards a team. It is really, there's a lot of time and effort going into being a member of a paranormal team or being a founder of a team. So you really have to, have that set group of people that can do these ghost hunts. Maybe they're paying like $30, $40, $100 a ticket to go to places. And, yes, it could end up being pricey, but there is an avenue for that. There is, a group of people that like to do that. And there are locations that allow it. So we have to allow that thing to happen. But as investigators, kind of have to gear the information to these people about how they're doing it and about good ways to do their investigations. Because it's not exactly, you're out there doing a ghost hunt. There's 30 other people with you. It is extremely hard to get anything on those things. So they need to know that. You need to point out to them that that doesn't work. If you want to get the real meat and potatoes, you're going to have to make the time to be part of a team that actually can control the variables in an environment. So this is kind of the things that I'm talking about. What things, what is wrong in the paranormal field? I think one of my biggest issues is there's so many celebrities, and a lot of them, I don't even know who they are. I don't have cable, so I don't really watch these TV shows. So I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know what they've done that's got them to where they are. I don't know, what kind of research have they done? Have they done their homework? I mean, I see lots of great researchers out there, really throwing this, hey, Pam, really, putting the time and effort into being great researchers or investigators. Yeah, no. Definitely not charging private clients. That's one of our things, I'd say if you, say you're a really dedicated team and a person and they're like, I will pay your travel expenses. That's different, travel expenses to get there. That's one thing. But, I would say that there are enough paranormal groups out there that no one should have to travel a long enough distance to have that happen. There are lots of respectable teams out there, got to be in good distance away from people who have, cases that need people to go to. It is not really efficient to have a team come in that is 10 hours away. That, what if you have more times that they need to come? I mean, it's easier to have a team that's only maybe 30 minutes away that can repeatedly come to your house or your location to help out. If you need them as an emergency, they're not around you. They're not nearby. So, yeah, it's even that point is kind of moot. You shouldn't be calling in people that you have to pay for their travel expenses, because there are enough teams in a distance that you could, and definitely in our area, you can't even walk 5 feet without tripping over another paranormal team. I live in Maryland, and there are people everywhere that investigate the paranormal. So, you know, and there are some cases like we investigate, all of the teams in this area investigate the same places. And I mean, that's just what happens. As long as everybody's doing the research and, you know, doing what they're supposed to do, that's what's important. But I do feel like the goals of a paranormal team kind of really set the tone for what kind of team they are. You know, what is the team looking to do? Are they looking to educate? Education is great. Are they looking for the thrills? You know, that's fine, as long as you're not going into a private residence. If you are thrill seekers and you just want to have fun, leave the private residences for other people and just go to these places that are, maybe it's a business. I mean, you know, going to a business that isn't really like, you know, hey, yeah, you can come into my place. I don't really care. Just come in whenever you want, investigate. As long as you're not, you know, channeling demonic entities, you know, why not? Document, go in and check it out. But like I said, leave the private residences to teams that are actually really doing the research and really doing what they're supposed to be doing. The fame aspect, I don't know what it is all of a sudden, but it's like everybody wants a TV show. I don't ever want to be on TV. I don't even like doing Facebook Live. You know, I don't ever rewatch these because I hate listening to my voice. So, yeah, see, Edward says, we will travel 2 to 3 hours when we are referred, but we kind of specialize in spiritual warfare and demonic activity. So in their case, they may be like a specialist, you know, like if somebody has a very, you know, rare heart condition, you know, they're going to go to Johns Hopkins, even if it's 5 hours away, and that is the doctor that actually specializes in it. That is a different story. You know, our team, we document stuff. Up to this, I'd say about a year ago, as cookies, up until about a year ago, we got a psychic medium. So, that case, you know, we're starting to do more of the stuff of helping people, live with the stuff that they have going on. And, you know, honestly, there's a lot of cases that people come in that, they need just somebody to talk to. That's all they need. They need therapy. You know, there's a lot of mental health aspects that first and foremost, if you're having issues in your home, please seek out medical attention first. Make sure that you are healthy in that aspect before you approach the paranormal side, because if you're mentally not able to deal with this, it's not going to be a good idea to get involved with whatever's in your home. You know, you just have somebody come in and kind of do a cleansing, get things, you know, settled down, but you need to seek medical attention, you know, anything like that first. It's really difficult. We aren't professionals in the medical field. I mean, I was a medical secretary, but I can't give you diagnostic advice. I cannot tell you what to do. I mean, that's really illegal. So it's best that people understand up front, we can't do that kind of stuff. And it can be very upsetting to people, private residence people, you know, when you're like, okay, do you take medication? Do you have any mental illness? They don't want you to asking these questions. They just want you to believe there's paranormal things happening here. But unfortunately, we can't make that decision. You really have to follow through with the actual science that's going on right now, because we are still a pseudoscience, and we could tell you all the things that, you know, anybody could tell you all the things that you want to hear, but it's not necessarily what is right. So I always definitely advocate, get your mental health right first before you get involved. Yes, outreach programs along with mental health programs is a huge blessing. I agree. We've had cases that come in, depression, suicide, things like that, and we definitely say, first off, let's get you, you know, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, where you need to be before we start worrying about the paranormal aspect, because, you know, it could honestly be the mental health that's actually causing the paranormal. Oh, thank you, Nicole. Hey, Rachel. So, you know, these are the things that are broken. People immediately, you have paranormal teams, paranormal investigators, they jump out there, they just want to investigate, and that's what they do. But there are a lot of cases where people don't need the investigation. They don't need to involve themselves in the possibility that it's paranormal. They need to seek medical attention. And that's a very important thing to approach, but it's difficult. It's very difficult. So we were also talking about the fame aspect again. Trying to be on TV and trying to, I don't know, get your name out there. I mean, I don't really know. Does anybody else tell me why that's important? Is it important to be, you know, have notoriety? Definitely, yes. Takes breaks before venturing into the paranormal. I agree. I don't understand that aspect. I would love for people to see my stuff and say, you know, I really respect her because she does exactly, you know, she follows the right steps. Hey, Michael. Hey, Selena. I don't really want to be known for the fact that I do these lives, except for the fact that I'm giving you great information. So to me, it's just a really good avenue for you guys to get information. And I'm really doing this all ad lib. I have some notes, but I don't really ever follow them completely because you guys kind of channel me into different directions. But I just want to get information out there, and I want everybody to be on the same page, you know, and to understand that even though I'm doing cases all the time, I really feel like, you know, I want to reach out there and talk to other people in the community. I want to work with other people. I want them to see what we're doing and share how we're doing it so that, you know, there's more of a standard to the paranormal than just, you know, going out there and wandering around in dark buildings all the time. But that kind of gears into, Nicole, I love doing lives and sharing my information about paranormal, and it's also good to take care of yourself. I agree. Like I said, I'm really not into lives. I hate hearing my voice, but I'm trying, guys. I've actually gotten really good at it since I've been starting this. Like, when did I start? In April. I started this in April. Actually, right after I started my keto diet, I started doing these lives. So everything's an improvement. Anyways, hey Jess. Going into the next one, something that's wrong with paranormal, no research. I see, hey Melanie, there's a lot of people that go out to investigate and they have absolutely no idea how their equipment works. Know your equipment, guys. Get all the information you can on it and do one piece at a time. You know, get one piece of equipment and really focus on it. I mean, there's no time limit to what we're doing. The K2 meter is still being used. So while I don't use that thing except for, like, you know, maybe we're just out somewhere and it's like, why not? People have used it and really, you know, focused on it and finally decided that, you know, it wasn't good enough, so we need to work on that and have something a little bit better. So that's what you have to do. Start from the bottom and work your way up. Get to know everything. Get to know EMF. Get to know audio and how all of it works. And I mean, yes, Nicole, I'm going to get to that one in just a second about research on a location. Get to know your equipment and not just the equipment, what it does on a paranormal investigation. What does that piece of equipment do on a day-to-day? What is, you know, what is it used for scientifically? Because everything is created based on the science that we know. So know what it's used for and what it can detect in a natural environment. Not paranormal wise, just normal. EMF, you know, is bothered by people. It's bothered by, you know, electrical lines. So anything can affect it. It's not just paranormal. So you have to pay attention. A really great example of paying attention to your equipment is spatial awareness. If you have somebody around you that has a two-way radio and you have a K2 meter, please be aware of who is around you and what people are doing, what people have, what other equipment is going on, because if you think you might be getting something, it may not be paranormal. It may just be something somebody else has. Please pay attention to what's going on around you when you're investigating. The attention to detail is imperative. Knowing how to operate a camera. I would say, and I feel like every paranormal investigator, if you're going to focus on photography as your main avenue of capturing evidence, learn manual mode. Learn manual mode on a DSLR camera. You will learn how to manipulate photos based on the settings. Greater Central Ohio Paranormal Society team. Okay, I'll try to look back at this, Curtis. I got based in Michigan, sister teams in Ohio, Florida, Washington, UK, Holland. I've actually had a lot of people commenting, so I'm sorry I'm getting close. Nicole Ray said, I prefer not to do any research on a location as a medium. I prefer it that way. I agree. And I'll go into that in a second. Google's not a research, pure background information, property search. Sorry. Even researcher clients, you'd be surprised what you see. I agree. Nicole Ray, it's true. Know your own equipment first. Know how to use a camera. Oh, and another point. So we live really close to Gettysburg. Everybody loves Gettysburg. It's like a mecca of paranormal stuff. And I know this weekend, Steve and Pam Barry with Gettysburg Ghost Exchange have created this huge event, the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, and lots of paranormal people and other people coming to support the Wounded Warriors of Pennsylvania. So check that out. Sorry, I have to shift around. But anyways, we were in Gettysburg one time, and Sachs Bridge is one of the most popular areas. They had a group, like a ghost tour or something out there. I don't know what they were doing, but everybody had dowsing rods. We were on a bridge, and they had dowsing rods. Now, I don't know if you know what dowsing rods are. Hey, Colby. Keep seeing something about... there is something in here. I always have this guy in here with me. Anyways, so, yes, they were on the bridge, and they had dowsing rods. And the dowsing rods, every time they'd walk across the bridge, would cross. Now, let that sink in for a little bit. Anyways, know your equipment. Learn what it's for. Learn the science behind it. Really get to know it, because if you go out and you investigate and you're trying to tell somebody, I mean, this is terrible. It's like, I feel so bad for these people that, they don't know anything and they're trying to like seriously tell somebody, they're so excited, look what I got and this and that. And the person's like, well, this can be explained by this. Now, a person doesn't have to be an a-hole and like be rude about it, kind of tell somebody in a better way, be a little bit more diplomatic. But, you gotta learn it, because you kind of look foolish if you're out there and you're trying to convince people that, this mirror image photo is Jesus, trying to cast a spell on you or something. I just, please know your equipment and understand what you're doing, and ground yourself a little bit, because, maybe your crown chakra is a little too open. Sandy, yes, Gettysburg is great. All the shops are great. Get to Gettysburg, go to Gettysburg Eddie's. Great food, great service. But equipment knowledge, theories. There are so many paranormal theories, and take every single one with a grain of salt. But know the information. Know what's going on. I just learned about this technique with wearing headphones and doing an ITC experiment where only the person wearing the headphones hears what's going on. And, oh, Ken there, okay, he probably was there. Ken Sminsky apparently did this. And so he was listening to the ITC, the ghost box or spirit box, or I'm not sure what equipment they were using, but he was actually, everything that he heard, he was saying out loud. So I'm interested in this. So learning these new things is just like, you know, continuing education with being a physician. So make sure you know your equipment, the current science, and new theories that are coming out all the time. ITC is probably the biggest thing right now. So know what that is, and know how things can manipulate it, or that some of the... Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. My phone just blipped. But anyways, know your equipment. Know the science behind it. Know theories. Any of the current old theories. I mean, I read books from people that, you know, they did the psycho research way back in like the 50s, 60s, 70s time frame. So really do read all of it. Learn all of it. Know your stuff. Talking about research itself. Hey, Sharon. If you are investigating a case, it is really important to, yes, you know, there are people like Nicole and Sharon that just came on, our psychic medium. They don't need to know the history beforehand. They shouldn't know the history. They shouldn't know anything about the location. They shouldn't know anything about the person. They should go in completely blind so that they're not, their perception's not skewed by whatever information they've given you already. So they can go in and give you a very good, unbiased determination of what's going on in the location. So there's also the people that don't have abilities that like to go into a location with absolutely no information. You know, they want to go in, they don't want that perception of what, you know, what the clients told them or the history says. They just want to go in, they want to research the paranormal part. They don't want to know any of the history. But as I always say, I'm an advocate. If you can only go into a location once and you are not a psychic or a medium, do your history beforehand. Because if you can only get in there once, you want to maximize what you're doing. Hey, Jen, maximize your ability to investigate that location. And having the historical information is a huge bonus. You know, you could have names, you could have locations, you could have just little tidbits of information that you can ask great questions and get good answers. It may guide you in the direction of what possibly is in the location. So I see a lot of people go in, they don't do history, they don't, you know, that doesn't really interest me. It's part of it. Doing the history is part of it. And not just having, you know, a tour guide tell you, oh, hey, you know, there was this woman that lived here 50 years ago and she hung herself. Find documentation of that, because you don't know that somebody did. And you could spend 8 hours talking to this woman who hung herself that maybe it was really a man who shot himself upstairs. So remember that. Just because somebody tells you something doesn't mean that it's true. And you spend a lot of time on something and information that is completely wrong. So get documentation of that kind of stuff. Definitely. And then, you know, if Sharon goes in and she does the whole building and then she says, okay, now tell me what's really going on here. She gets validation because we have all of that information already ready to tell her, you know, this history is this, and this is what's going on in this building. So do the research, do the historical research, get the deed work. And yes, Google is not just it shouldn't be your sole, you know. Google is great if you're just looking for the information. Find stuff that actually has documentation. Graves.com. In Maryland, we have Maryland Land Rec. Has all the deeds and stuff on it. It takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. Genealogy things, you know, what is it? Ancestry.com, if they have documents. Newspapers.com. There are lots of things out there that actually have documentation of things that happen. And journalism back then was the truth. They could only really put what was the truth, or they'd get in trouble for it. So remember, if it was in the newspaper, more than likely it was real. Let's see. Documentation. One of the problems that I see, people go in and they don't document anything. Where was Fred at during, you know, the investigation? Was he upstairs when you think you heard those footsteps? Make sure that you know where all your investigators are while you're investigating. Control the variables. Control, your investigators, control the equipment. No. Try to become famous. You know, I just was talking about that, Colin. There is a huge responsibility in the paranormal. I definitely feel that some people, they don't understand, though, that to help those in need, they have to educate themselves first. And there's a lot of, you know, learning involved with this. It's, I don't think anybody should just say, oh, I'm going to go out and help this person. Well, this is my day one of being a paranormal investigator. I mean, you don't want, honestly, this is really kind of apples and oranges, but you don't want somebody just deciding to be an open heart surgeon and do your surgery, you know, the first day they decide they want to do it. No, they have to go through extensive training. While ours isn't as important, I would definitely feel like I would rather have a team that has gone through their paces, done the homework, shows their research, you know, really has stuff behind them to show that they are the real. They're the real deal. So that's who needs to go out there and help, not just the people that, you know, fly by night and just whatever. You know, hey, we're going to go in and we're going to investigate, and then you never see them again. So, yeah, I agree, Colin. It's not about becoming famous. It's about helping, educating, and doing the right thing. Because people are dealing with this in their homes. They live with it. So you really don't want to mess with that. That's terrible. Moving on to the next one. I was actually involved with a Paracon just recently. And I think the premise behind them is great. Some of them are too focused on the celebrities. And I really don't, I mean, I'd love to meet some celebrities. I have met some celebrities. But I feel like these events, all right, I got people commenting and I want to say what they're saying. Colin, I agree. And the Baltimore, Washington Paranormal and Antietam should team up, do a workshop sometime. Sure thing, Colin. You just send me an email. Jazz says, my advice to groups, do background checks on promising teammates. Yes. Before you bring them into your investigations. There's too many criminals in this field. It's time to weed them all out. There's a lot of scam artists in this field. Just be careful and happy haunts. I'm going to visit that before I say something about Paracons. I agree. Couple things. Research the client. Do, you know, judiciary searches, criminal history. Check the areas, because some places are just not safe for your team. And, you know, you invite somebody onto your team. We do our own background checks. So sex offenders don't get on our team. People who steal, no. Thieves, no. So you need to check to make sure that the people... Now, I will say, though, people are very good at hiding who they really are. So don't beat yourself up if you have somebody join your team that is not the greatest person. You know, just kind of let them go, brush it off, and move forward. And be honest about it. You know, if somebody says something about this person, you know, they kind of... Don't hide what you know. Just kind of, you know, let people know about it quietly. You don't need to blast it out like I'm not going to say anything on Facebook Live, but check people out. And if they do end up bad, even though they don't have a criminal history or didn't have anything wrong, you didn't see anything wrong with them to begin with, you know, it's a learning experience, and not everybody can tap into, you know, to other people's minds and see the way things are going to end up. So do what you can to protect your team before they join, but then if, you know, they seem like they're not a good choice, nip it in the bud. But like I said, that goes for who you investigate for and who is on your team. Do background checks on everybody. You just never know. But again, the Paracons. I see a lot of Paracons that are like really expensive. You know, like $150, $300. I don't even know why people do that. I mean, you're just going to meet people that have been on TV. If you really want to know information, Find teams that maybe are doing stuff at like a local library. We're contemplating doing that for our meetings coming up. Find, I know there's one, I think Inspired Ghost Tracking. They do speakers that come that are, very intelligent and have done lots of research, have been in the field for a long time, and all different types of walks. They could be paranormal investigators, they could be shamanic healers, psychic mediums. Go to things that actually have substance. Just because somebody's been on TV doesn't mean they're important. Doesn't mean they're going to give you any value. You're just throwing your money at them, and what are you left with? A signature that you had to pay for? I think Paracons need to be geared towards education and learning. Now, maybe it won't draw people because people aren't famous, but I really felt that the Paracon that I was involved with, they had lots of really good people that had great information, but you go in and there's nobody there. So, all right. Colin says, I wish my first 13 years in the field wasn't with a certain someone who one dropped our team high and dry, and we found out the person we thought we knew was not who we thought he was. I also say this, Paracons are people who want to make money and don't care about the field. Yeah, it's sad because, I don't want to undermine what they're doing. They have to make their money, whatever. And there's all those people out there that really want to meet these people. There's nothing wrong with that, but I can't see spending that kind of money going to these things. Really, if you're going to go to anything, find people in your area and learn from people that are doing stuff in person and, really putting the information out there. A lot of the stuff can be very dry and boring, but if you want to know about the paranormal field, I'll be honest with you, it is really boring. Most of it's very boring. 3/4 of the time is a bunch of overweight people sitting in a dark room talking to yourself. So there it is. Yeah, and sometimes we have really great stuff happen to us. Doors move, you hear screaming, or somebody talks to you that's not really there. It's exciting, but it's not always a thrill. It just isn't. So it's tough to really try to sell paranormal. Yes, super boring. Oh my gosh, I've been to some really boring investigations, and people ask me all the time, aren't you scared to do that? Well, I kind of get freaked out when, like, you go outside and maybe there's a skunk, but really, the only time I was scared was the time that, Jeremy and Ryan with the three of us were the founders, and they ran off and left me, and I didn't even have a flashlight. So that kind of freaked me out a little bit, but that was my first investigation ever. So, you gotta let me off the hook on that one. So Paracons and celeb events. If you're out there and you're trying to learn about the paranormal, please go to local stuff where teams that really have, really have good, rich information to help you out. Don't let it be about spiderweb in the face. Yeah, then you're a ninja, Lori. Learn from locals. And I know, like I said before, I've had people say, oh, hey, could we tag along? That isn't possible on our team because, our members come first. So, if we deny our members their ability to go on investigations, we can't have everybody on an investigation. There's just too many people. But, find a team that you can go on a ghost hunt with, or that does, little things. Here I am selling it, but I'm going to do a Paranormal 101. Paranormal Investigation 101 at Oddfellows in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. My goal is to have like 5 people involved in this. A group of people that can learn how we do our private residences, how the equipment's set up, what you see on a DVR, how to tag a recorder, listening to sounds, the stuff that you need to know, and how you set up your equipment, and doing baseline readings, little things like that, and then doing like a little session so that you can use what you've learned. That is a really important kind of thing to do. I think every paranormal group should kind of share with the public how they do these things. But not everybody does them right, so that's probably why they don't always share them. moving on to the next one. Too much money. It's expensive. I don't either, Jas. I don't like this. I don't like doing lives, but I've gotten better each time. Each time I do them. Oh, and Colin, you know, wanting to teach the next generation. Okay, I've had a lot of people tell me, you know, having kids on investigations is wrong. Okay, so I agree. You know, you don't want to have an 8-year-old out there investigating. I really feel like, you know, once kids hit maybe like preteen age, you know, maybe like 10, 12 time frame, that's when you really need to start teaching them healthy ways to approach the paranormal, because they all get interested in it at some point. And you don't want them using Ouija boards or other things that just freak them out and scar them for life. So teach them the right things. Take them on something that is a location that's not going to scare the crap out of them. You know, take them somewhere and really show them the ropes of what, you know, exactly a junior team. That's great. And give them real information and try not to let them be scared, because I know we've had young girls and they scream and they're, you know, they kind of get hysterical, but we really try to bring that back down and just like, you know, teach them this is what actually it was, instead of, you know, going to a location that's what they want. They want to scare the crap out of people. Yes, and teach them healthy practice of the paranormal. I do not feel like completely pushing out a whole generation just simply because of their age. Kids grow up a lot faster these days, and you just have to give them the knowledge, give them the right knowledge so that they can do things the right way. Because, I mean, look at some of these ones, they get hit by trains, or, you know, they're out there doing things that are scary and dangerous. At least if they're on an organized event and doing this stuff, they're safe. And they're learning from somebody that knows the ropes. Yeah, you are haunted, Sharon. That's good, Jess. It's great to have something for them to do. But some places are too much money. A lot of these locations, though, you see really put their funds back into the building. Like Trans-Allegheny is a really good example. Every year you see where that money goes. They do a lot of repairs and a lot of renovations and respect for our spirit friends. Exactly. So, you know, I think in some cases people are trying to capitalize on the whole paranormal thing. I want them to know, okay, sorry, squirrel, as we call it. Colin says, I also want them to know you will always be learning something different every day in the field. If you meet a group that says they know everything, they are full of it. Groups like yours and ours and others like ours need to band together and show the people the professional way to investigate and how we are in the field to help families and businesses in need. Exactly. I definitely feel like I have way more questions now after 10.5 years than I do answers. So when somebody asks me a question that's really specific, you know, what exactly is a ghost? Well, heck, I don't know. Is it something in a different dimension? Is it something that's left over here? I don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out, you know? I have all my opinions, but you don't want to hear my opinion. You want, like, real information, and we can't give you that. That's why we can't charge, because it's all opinion-based. Everything that we do is opinion-based. You know, we can give you ideas, and we can give you, you know, information and ways to approach everything, but at the end of the day, do we know that it's going to work like an antibiotic kills strep? No, we don't. There is no absolutes here. So anybody that tells you there is full of crap. Too many people in the paranormal. Okay, here's one of the things where a lot of people, I lose people. They get mad about this. Not everybody's meant to be a paranormal investigator. We do, Jess. We have an understanding and it works. We do our best. We give our best educated opinion based on, you know, our learned experience, and you do what you got to do. But there are too many people out there. Somebody said to me recently, there's too many cocks and not enough hens. Not everybody is meant to be a paranormal investigator. You need to learn things, to be a paranormal investigator. Anybody can be a ghost hunter. And yes, I'm separating those terms because we have to do it. Ghost hunters go out because they want to see something. They want to experience something. They don't necessarily care about the details. So, you know, some people don't have the same semantics as I do, but this is how I differentiate. People that go out there for the thrills, who pay for their, you know, investigations and don't keep track of anything, don't do historical research. They just go in, do the tour, and go out and just set up their equipment and play around. These are ghost hunters. And, you know, that's fine. Everybody can be one of those. But a paranormal investigator takes a specific kind of person. You need honesty, dedication, motivation, communication. You have to have intelligence. And I mean, that sounds a terrible thing to say, but you have to be able to use deductive reasoning, critical thinking, spatial awareness. You got to have an attention to detail. You can't just, you know, wander around aimlessly and think that you're going to get anything. Paranormal investigators, hey Adam, gliders in the house. You have to be willing to learn. You have to be willing to communicate and be honest about that. Yeah, you can, Jess. I will be honest. We have quite a few times paid for investigations. Usually here and there, little things, but there are locations that, you know, the money goes towards the location, and I'm fine with that. I feel like as long as they're not trying to capitalize on it, and they're just trying to recoup their funds, like especially if you're somewhere and, you know, maybe they're having a little monetary problems, you know, it's something where they want to keep their building, but they're not quite sure what they can do to keep their building. I do not feel that there's anything wrong with that. But they've gotten to the point where they want to charge all this money, and it's like, I'm sorry, but people can't do that. Teams can't do that. We can't go every month and spend $500 on investigation. That's ridiculous. So yeah, that's just crazy. Why would anybody do that? And you know, going back to the intelligence thing, it's a terrible thing to say, and I'm sure people will probably persecute me for that, but you got to have knowledge. You got to be able to absorb information and, you know, debate, discuss, communicate, talk about it, and learn more, and bring in other people that can teach them. I know places that are like $3,000 for a night, so that's cheap. But yeah, so money has become a problem. Too many people that don't know what they're doing and don't take the time to really learn anything. Data and information. Somebody said the other day, why is it that people don't share? My dog's about to bark, just so you know. Yeah, I know. Wow. That's a lot, isn't it? $3,000. It's crazy. It does. I know it's not kind of me to say that it takes intelligence. I feel terrible about saying it, but, you know, some people just cannot grasp some of the things. That either their beliefs, like, overshadow, like, their actual logic. Right now, I am straddling between logic and intuition. I have developed some sort of ability, and my logical mind wants to push that out, but it seems like the universe doesn't want to let me. So there's a lot of back and forth with what we do. There's a lot of research and metaphysics and science, and there's just so much information. You have to be willing and able to absorb it. So like I was saying, data and information, going back to that kind of discussion, some people, do they not have time? They don't take the time to do these things. Do they not have motivation? Do they not have dedication to it? Do they just, you know, yes, I think like the more you do these things, the more your intuition grows. I completely agree with that. The longer you do it, you could walk in a room and you could say, yep, this is where we need to set up. There's something in here. That definitely improves over time. So like, you know, why is it people aren't sharing their data? Well, I can tell you why. Because everybody picks it apart. And while, you know, if you share it with the public, they have every right to pick apart what you're sharing. But again, you know, people are weighing their options. do I share it knowing what I know and knowing that this information is legit? You know, I've checked everything. I've done my homework. Our documentation says nobody was there. You know, we've done all the baseline readings, and, you know, we've tried to debunk it or recreate it, and it's not happening. Hey, Tony. You know, this is why people don't share it, because there's so many people out there that just know more than everybody else. And even though they weren't there, and yes, I'm going to use that statement, if you weren't there, you really can't say. So as long as you're doing that homework and you know without a doubt that you've checked every single thing, every variable. Hey, Diane. He couldn't hear EVPs and now I can. Is that because, like, over time he just had to, like, learn how to do it? Or oh yeah, other groups can be terrible, but, you know, just do your thing. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to be and doing it the right way, do your thing. Yeah, it's sharing sometimes is, I mean, we share what we can. A lot of places, I don't like sharing pictures of places because I feel like, to me, it's, you know, if it's a private residence, I'm not going to share any of that. Nobody's going to see what your bedroom looks like. Nobody's going to see what your bathroom looks like. That's only for the investigator's eyes, you know. If it's a private business, no one else is going to see that. It's only us. Only if that location says, yep, share everything. That's great. Share everything that you have. You know, I love that you're doing research and you're putting it out there for other people to learn from. Go for it. I think too many people want to exploit the client, exploit the location, exploit this. Oh, I keep doing that. It's driving me crazy. Colin says people also need to know an investigation is not a 24-hour thing. Some cases can last weeks with interviews, walkthroughs, investigation, and then analysis, then go back to the client with what we didn't find or find. Our team motto, though, is once your client, you're always a client, because if we don't find anything the first time, but things continue, we're willing to come back. That is a great topic because it brings up some of the points that I've been thinking lately. I don't feel like any case should just be jumped on and immediately, you know, oh, throw the things in the car, let's go. You really need to focus on researching this. Make sure this client is somebody that's safe. Are they telling you the truth? Because some people will tell you anything to get you out there. And then you get there and they're all sitting around with popcorn and beer and waiting for the show to start. That happens way too often for us. So take your time. As long, you know, in most cases, you don't find where these people are, you know, being drugged down the hallway and thrown out a window. Take your time with the case. Go over everything correctly. I tell my clients 4 weeks. It takes us 4 weeks to go through everything to give you a good report. It's not, you know, it's not something that just happens overnight. And everybody in our team has jobs. We have families. We have other things that are going on. So the bottom line is we want to help you, but you have to be willing to help us. You have to go that extra mile as well. So I have not had too many cases of defenestration, which is being thrown out a window. So if you have, I'd love to hear about it. That's awesome. Maybe not awesome for the person who was thrown out a window, but anyways, organization. If anybody ever knows me, I have a notebook for everything. I even have, look, I have a Facebook Live notebook. I have notebooks for everything. I keep journals. I even have like organization for stuff for my daughter here at home for like homeschooling kind of stuff. She goes to a public school, but this summer it was like, hey, she's bored. I'm going to give her something to do. So I organize everything. And when I see groups that aren't organized, it actually drives me batty. It's like, how do you know anything? How can you keep anything, you know, how can you give an adequate conclusion to anybody if you don't organize your information? Okay, I got people popping up. Richard Higgins had a client have a party one time while during the investigation. I shut it down after an hour. I think they thought they were going to be on TV. Yeah, we've gotten there. And they're like, well, is this going to be on TV? And it's like, no, sorry. We aren't ghost hunters. Yeah, no, I do. I like composition notebooks. Yeah, Sandy, somebody thrown out a window. Hey, Susie. I like to see teams organized, you know, put their information in together. And one of the things that I have my group do, everybody runs audio. I make sure your audio is such a valuable item. You can, you don't need a notebook anymore. You can throw the time out there. You can say what's happening to you. Seeing a shadow. It's 6:30 p.m. We saw a shadow. What if that information correlates to somebody else's? So I tell my team, record everything. Tag things that are happening. Tag the time, where you're at. Events that happen. Even if they aren't paranormal, it could be like, oh, we heard a car go down the street. Well, that logging of that car going down the street could coincide with a light that's on, a DVR somewhere. So remember these things. Keep yourself organized. Our team is supposed to, they're supposed to have investigation reports. So it's great information. And when you throw all that stuff together, it gives you the clearest picture of what happened during an investigation. Colin, also we tell our clients everything is confidential. We don't share anything. So everything's between the client and our team. Yeah, recorders that's like the number one item. And I mean, if you're investigating at night, a flashlight too, because safety wise, that's important. But yeah, who leaves home without a recorder or a flashlight? Those are the most important things that you can have. So if you're an investigator and you forget those at home, you need to put an alert in your phone. So the last two things that I want to talk about, one is the paranormal field is an easy target for scams. Remember that. Anybody can tell you anything. It kind of touches on what we talked about earlier. They could tell you like, hey, I'm going to bring in this person that can get rid of this thing out of your house. We had a case that a guy told this old lady $1,500 and we'll fly him in. We told her that's absolutely not something that you should do. Don't let somebody try to funnel money out of you to do a paranormal investigation. There are lots of teams out there that will not charge you a dime and will help you with everything that you need. It's so easy for people to scam people in the paranormal field. It's terrible. We only do it just because most of us work, during the day. I feel that nighttime there's less human contamination because most people are going to sleep. There's, the idea that your senses are a little bit more sharpened from not all the visual things are kind of bothering you. So you can really focus on the hearing, the smelling, the taste, the bodily sensations. So you can really kind of focus on that. Well, that's awesome, Diane. What kind of recorder did you get? I use a Sony and I love it, but my husband has a Tascam, which I hope to upgrade to at some point. But yes, scams. Make sure you know who you're dealing with, and don't pay anybody any money. And just remember that it's not just about showing up. Whether you are a freelance investigator, a paranormal team, a member of a paranormal team, it's not just about showing up. You have to be present. You have to be willing to learn. Oh, Olympuses are good, Diane. You got to be willing to learn. You've got to be willing to really go that extra mile. You have to show up in more than just physical. You got to be mentally there. You got to be emotionally there. You got to be physically there. You got to be everything there. Intelligence got to be there. It can't just be about your body being there and falling asleep. Colin says, we have never had a demonic case and we have been in the field 15 years. The one case the family thought it was, we found out during evidence review. It was the young daughter doing it all, and she was doing it for attention, but that's why we do this, because we were able to help this family get the kind of help for their child in the end that she needed. And I've been doing it for, next April, it'll be 11 years, so it's just about 10 and a half years. We've never had anything demonic, nothing even approaching demonic, and I will not say that I don't believe it. I'm a lot of times, I'm kind of lean towards, I feel a lot of demonic cases are mental manifestations or poltergeists or tulpas, thought forms, things that people have created because they're religious or, you know, their beliefs. That's my opinion. It's not everybody's opinion. Feel free to disagree with me. I don't debate it because it's, you know, it's just how I feel. And until I actually experience that, you know, I don't make fun of it because I feel like it is a serious thing. Whether somebody just believes it's demonic or it really is a tulpa, it's still serious. So it's not a funny thing. What really is irritating when somebody, you know, teams go in continuously and every place they go is demonic. Oh, it's demonic. There's a demon here. And they want to do exorcisms or, you know, like, oh, immediately you got to bless the house. Well, that sometimes, you know, that's if your thoughts in your mind have a lot of power and you spend 8 hours determined to believe that there's a demon there, you may create something that is like a demon. So don't forget that the power of your thoughts is very, very powerful. So it taking over. So, okay. Brett Stadler. How do you feel about some of these big groups taking over so many places? They can charge an arm and a leg to go there. Plus, they have no cap on the amount of people. To me, it is all about making money with some of the big groups. Yeah, well, I don't know groups-wise, but I know there are locations that charge too much money. So, you know, I don't know. I don't really know how to combat that except to tell people don't pay exorbitant amounts of money to go into a place. If it's a group, like a paranormal team, that, you know, has taken over and they charge people, I don't think they have the right goals here. I wouldn't even call them a paranormal group. They're just trying to capitalize on everything. And I'll be honest, you know, I've been to locations that have people come in all the time and the activity changes and adapts based on the people that go there and the things that they do. So it's creates kind of a havoc or negative situation. So remember, if you go to any of these places that just have a revolving door of people investigating, it's not always a good thing, because if your energy agitates anything that's in these places, then it's not really a good environment for anybody. But that's about it. And the last thing I talked about was showing up. Make sure that if you are part of this, you do more than just show up physically. You are there and you are doing things. You are active and you are present, and you're doing what you got to do. Do the homework, you know. Just going into a location and just sitting around, or, you know, bringing your own attachments. Yeah. You know, and not really doing anything or helping anybody is kind of, you know, it's kind of, yes, they do, Jess. I've always wanted to do a documentary on all these so-called TV hotspots and really do a true investigation and prove people the truth. I will say Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is 100%. I probably experienced everything you could possibly think of there, except for the demonic part. But doppelgangers, audible, visual, everything. The place is crazy. But it's one of the only ones that I've gone to. We went to, oh gosh, what's the Prospect Place? We didn't have any activity there, but it doesn't mean anything. You know, everything's hit or miss sometimes. So, yeah, I agree, Briar. And, you know, thinking about Trans-Allegheny, there's everything there could possibly be people who just didn't have the capacity to communicate like we can. So the information that we get, if we think it's negative, it could just be that they can't communicate like we can. They can't adjust their attitudes, or, you know, be anything but what they are. So,
where's Cody?
Penguin. But that is it. I wanted to go over a couple more things again. We are doing ghost hunts in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia in October. We raise the money for the Odd Fellows, the Virginia Lodge #1 that's over there. And we're doing some Paranormal Investigation 101, and we are doing ghost hunts. Like I said, since we can't have people that go on our investigations, we'd like to have these types of things. And then bonus, it raises money for an awesome building. The Oddfellows are actually in a former armorer's residence building, and it still looks a lot like it did back in the day. If you research the 22nd Elite New York Militia, you will see pictures, and type in Harpers Ferry as well, you'll find pictures of these troops standing in front of what is now the Oddfellows Lodge. So it's an incredible building. They have graffiti from soldiers that were stationed there. Sharon is going to be there, and like I said, she's amazing. You know, if she gets anything, she always tells people if somebody's coming through to them. She's so kind and always willing to help. The universe was smiling on us when they sent her to us in May of last year. So I feel like I've known her forever, though. So she's that great of a person. So go to our website, AntietamParanormalSociety.org, and you can get tickets if you go to, yes, Harpers Ferry, Diane. If you go to our upcoming events, I've shared it on our page a couple times. I want to say the Paranormal Investigation 101 is 15, and then the ghost hunts are 20. We're only going to probably sell 5 tickets for each different time frame. So you get this location with just 3 of our investigators, and you know, it's going to be amazing. So it's great history, great paranormal stuff happening there. So going to Hillview Manor, just 3 of us this week as well, and a stop at West Virginia Penitentiary the day after. Yeah, we've been to West Virginia Penitentiary. I wouldn't mind going back. We didn't have a lot of great luck there, but the second time we went, there was so many people that it was kind of discouraging. But I'm going to let it at that. I am Rebecca Boyer. I am the co-founder, case manager of Antietam Paranormal Society. And you guys have a great night. Bye.